Bills fans, what is up? How's everybody on this Easter Sunday? I've been a lot of things have going on. Obviously, let me adjust this shit. This is a little too fucked up. All right, better. A lot of things have gone on. Owners meetings. Heard from Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott's. I think we heard from Brandon Beane a couple of times. And I got the sense of this also, that the pervading feeling I get from Beane during this whole thing, talk of the trade up, talks of this, talks of that, it's just this overriding sense of calm. He's just way calm about this. And please, if you could, if you're in the chat, could you let me know if you hear me? You could just type yes if you hear me. If you don't hear me, I'll restart the chat. But the reason I put Stop the Insanity as the title is there's this Bills fan sentiment out there, and a lot of it's maybe from the media. Maybe it's just Bills fans' nature. Awesome, Toombs. I appreciate it. Thank you. Happy Easter, guys. Can you hear this idea that they can wait around either at 22 or in the second round to take a quarterback? If they're gonna do that, don't take one. Don't take one, because you're not getting nobody. You're not. First of all, you're definitely not getting your guy. Number one, they can't go out there and sell that bill of goods. Number two, you're gonna end up with the Mike Whites of the world, or maybe Ben Kurt. That's what you're getting. That's it. Because chances maybe Arizona takes a quarterback, maybe Miami takes a quarterback at 11. Talk of maybe the Steelers, Saints, Jaguars, and the Patriots taking a quarterback at the bottom of round 1. So why even bother? Why bother? All the best guys have been picked over, and they'll have blown their opportunity. So I don't get the rationale behind that thought process at all. Oh, what? We need an impact linebacker. Guess what? Sorry, impact linebackers. A lot easier to find than franchise quarterbacks. And I'm not interested in watching. I'd rather watch an above average quarterback than the best linebacker in the NFL in a Bills uniform. Yep. Because we haven't had an above average quarterback in a Bills uniform. We've had some impact linebackers. Andrew LaCroix played at a very high level. Takeo Spikes played at a high level in his first year and a half. Kiko Alonso for 4 games that's about it, but he was an impact linebacker for 4 games. I'm not interested in that. I'm really not. I'd rather see what Matt Milano can develop into. You could live with Lorenzo Alexander for another year. Got 2 linebackers on the field most of the time anyway. In a perfect world, a luxury pick, yeah, Roquan Smith would be nice. But you know what? At the risk of passing up a quarterback, I'm not interested. Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? The guy who had the impact is the guy who has the ball in his hands every play. And I've seen a lot of this cutesy shit from mocks, and I know mocks are bullshit, but it's called getting cute, and it's called middling it. And that's what the Bills have done. They've always middled it. They've middled it at the most important position. But I mean, you got to stop this stuff. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not here to press my views, but Bills fans, and you know what irritates me about this is you can get that impact linebacker now, right? And come late October, November, when you pretty much know what your team is and isn't, and you realize your quarterback's not good enough, that impact linebacker is not making the impact that a quarterback would be making. And I don't care if they take a step back this year or not. let a rookie catch his breath a little bit, get a little more familiar with the playbook, get some more practices under his belt, get some more reps under his belt, and then slide in there. I'll get more excited for 2019 than I would for 2018, knowing that there's a quarterback in place ready to roll. That would make me excited, as opposed to the impact linebacker. My God. I see that stuff, and I'm just like I see these. I mean, I don't know what happens with these talking heads when they see mocks. Like, people, these national people must not even care about the Bills roster. They never made the move because I've said this multiple times, Eric. Ralph Wilson was obsessed with running backs. He loved running backs. He loved them. That was the way you won football games. That 1960s, 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense. There was only, thankfully, I got to watch it. There was only one period in this whole organization's history where the offense was, wow, the offense was just head and shoulders above everybody else, or could compete with the other elite offenses. And that was it. And that was in between 89 to 92. That was it. That was when the Bills had the offense that could go toe-to-toe or supersede anybody, irregardless of the defense that they were facing. And I'm sick of playing catch-up at that position. I'm sick of playing catch-up. I'm sick of going into the games thinking like, damn, you guys know this better than I do. Oh, can only give up 16 here, 17. And I repeat myself a lot here, but I can't stand this scared. It's scared because every Bills fan, it seems like even certain media, they're always talk under the guise of the Bills are going to blow this, that it's going to fail, that the decision might fail, that the guy that they pick might fail. And you know what? Even if it does, I don't give a shit. You'll know if it failed in the next 3 to 4 years, and by that time, maybe you're bad enough you can go take another one. I just don't want to sit around and recycle the same old garbage at quarterback. I'm really not. And you know what? Maybe AJ McCarron could turn out to be something. Who knows? Maybe they can flip him for a third next year, but I don't care. I need to see Baker Mayfield or Josh Rosen on this roster next year, because those are the two quarterbacks that I want more than any. I might be able to live. You know what? I would rather get Mason Rudolph above Darnold, because Darnold, to me, I think his age, they like his age. He's still young. And I hate when people talk about upside. I don't like upside. I don't like that word, because in the NFL, you don't really have time for upside. That's number one. Number two, he's just so turnover prone. He's very turnover prone. And I'm not a fan. I mean, he has great arm talent, but I don't know. Something about him's missing. I don't think he's I like a little fire in my quarterback. I like a little bit of an asshole. I like a little bit of an edge. And I don't know if I think he's too young to have that edge. I think he's kind of like got that, oh shucks, good golly me type of thing going on. He just doesn't have that oomph. But this is going to be a long ass, long 2.5 weeks. Yeah, that's what I want, Eric. And I would take Rudolph over the other top two. I would take Rudolph over the other top two, if so be it. But you got to take him at 12. Can't wait around. That's just the way of it. Can't wait around. Can't sit there and hope he slips. I hate that shit. That shit really pisses me off. Show some balls and say that was your guy. Show the set and say, you know what, we felt comfortable taking him here. Or you know what, if you make the trade up, you know what, we know they were going after something. But I think they plan on trading up. And they can give all the lip service they want about liking 12 and being at 12 and all that stuff. But like I started off the video saying, some of you guys weren't in the room yet, that Bean is awfully. He just sounds awfully comfortable. He sounds very calm and very comfortable. Like he's got a couple of things in the cooker, just waiting. And at this point right now where we're at, April 1st, I don't expect to see no movements at the earliest, what? Maybe draft week. Maybe draft week. But I think the trade that we'll see will end up being a draft day trade. And seems like everything is boiling down to Darnold and Allen being the first two gone. That Darnold and Allen are the likely two that are going to come off first. Darnold to Cleveland, and the Jets taking Allen at 3. Yeah, Lurker, Lloyd. That I mean, sick. I mean, he's a different kind of quarterback, bro. He's a thrower. They're all maybes, man. They're all maybes. You know what? I'm not interested in a guy who has to. Jackson, for me, I just don't like the frame and the fact he is going to have to run in the NFL to make plays. He's going to run. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but he is going to have to run to make plays. And I think Jackson's a quarterback. I'm not one of those people. It's like, oh, I'll put him at receiver, this and that. I think the kid's a quarterback. I just think he needs time. I just think Jackson is best served going to a team at the bottom half of the first round where he could sit and learn. He's not a guy that's going to come in I think Jackson has a better head on his shoulders than RG3. I think RG3's big problem was he thought he had arrived after year 1 and nobody was good enough to teach him anything after that. Meanwhile, he had Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan as his head coach and his OC, but he was too good to learn from those guys. I'm not a Darnold Lurker. I'm not a Darnold fan. I'm really not. I'm just not a Darnold fan. I mean, he's got arm talent. I think he's got a good skill set. I'm just not a fan of him. He's just way too loose with the football. He's way too loose with the football. That's just me. That's just me. And he's very young. He's a very young guy. Like I don't know if he has the fire in the gut to go out there and really get in guys' faces and see that thing for me. It's not about USC quarterbacks either, man. It's not the whole Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Sanchez argument, John David Booty. And see, I'm not an Allen fan at all. I mean, you don't all of a sudden go from 57% completion in the Mountain West to the NFL and put 5, 6, 7 points on your completion percentage where the throws are appreciably harder. The game is 10 times faster and more physical. It doesn't translate, man. I said I like Palmer. I think Palmer's a good quarterback. The guy, you know what the thing about Lurker, and I'll tell you who I like. He was like Vinny Testaverde. The guy could throw a football till he was 40. He just chose to retire. That was this year, but again, his size and his skill set are a completely different breed. And he's a reigning NFL MVP, and he's gone to a Super Bowl. So, and he's been in the NFL for several years. That's different than That's different than coming from the Mountain West. So, I like Mayfield and Rosen. That's who I like. I like either Baker Mayfield or Rosen. See, I don't buy that at all. That's that. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I don't see the footwork. I don't see the decision making. The guy's not hitting routes on air. He's not hitting routes against no pass rush. So when he gets into a live game and there's bodies flying around and everything's going full speed, he's going to hit these passes. I just don't see it. No, I mean, I think they have to move up. They can't risk it. To me, they can't risk it. They can't risk it. See, if you want Allen, you got to concede that the guy's going to sit for a year plus. He's not playing. And I want no part of that. You know how much pressure it's going to be, especially if they trade up to put this guy on the field? I would like Baker at 6. I would like Baker at 6. I would like Rosen in that same area or 4th. Those are the two guys I want. Those are the two, and I can only have one. But if I'm gonna do it, it's Rosen 1A, Baker 1B. I get a smile on my face either way. But this main thing was the insanity of Bills fans thinking they can sit around and wait till 22 or wait till the 2nd to get a quarterback. There is no way in hell that any of these guys, any of the top 6 to 7, a guy like Kyle Lauletta is not going to be available at pick 56 when the Bills pick in the 2nd round for the first time. He's not even going to be there. How would you guys feel about that? If they got cute and they do the Donald Jones crap, you got to fill your need. There is no need, bro. God, this is a guy who had to catch passes from Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's talking shit about filling needs. Get out of here with that junk. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I know he's got a yay to the nay. I don't want to hear it. I tell people to shoo. Yeah, they have to, Thomas. They have to. There's no doubt about it. This is the time. The time is now. They got the time. They broke the drought. It's over. They've got the time now. They have their hall pass. The Bills have their hall pass. They have their trump card. They broke the streak. This regime has the time now to proceed forward for the next 3 to 4 years with as marginal a pressure any Bills regime has ever come in with in the last decade, because they don't have to sit there and answer questions about this drought anymore because it doesn't exist. Of course, they'll be asked questions about getting the team back in the playoffs, but still, that's going to be so weird about getting the team back into the playoffs. To hear that, that's going to be like, wow, that's weird to hear. No, that's the consensus guy right now. And as we draw closer to the draft, it's more and more looking like that's the guy that's going first. Now, where we see weird shit happen, like I think once the Giants pick goes down, then for the Bills, it's all about waiting to see what the Jets do. Because everything that's good to hear from my point of view is that the Broncos aren't taking a quarterback. I don't think the Giants are taking a quarterback. They could have gone full on and just totally flipped the script and moved on from Eli. Saved a bunch of money, done right by him, the same way the Colts did with Peyton Manning. They could have ushered him out very respectfully, did the whole press conference, let him move on, could have went to Jacksonville maybe, finished out his career. Just fine. Good team already in place. Could have done that. Didn't do it. They kept him because that tells me that they want to play winning football. And playing winning football doesn't include taking the second pick and using it on a guy that's not going to play on a team that has a lot of needs. They have more needs than the Bills have. Okay. And they have a big problem with their best player, Odell Beckham Jr. They don't know if the guy is going to be there long term or not. Lurker, nobody's trading for McCoy, bro. Nobody's trading for a 30-year-old running back with a $9 million price tag. That's just not happening. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound like an ass. It's just not happening. Nobody's giving you – that's just not happening. Like, it's just not happening. That's a Madden trade, bro. That's not a real-life trade. It's a playmaker, but, again, he's a 30-year-old running back with a $9 million price tag. It's not fiscally feasible. This is not. He's not 27 anymore with when he came to the Bills, like a $5 or $6 million price tag. You know, no, he's 3 years older with $3 million more attached to his name. That's on your books. Teams are frugal, man, especially with that position. They want to set up. This team is setting up to allocate dollars towards free agency next year and have money in the coffers to eventually pay this quarterback. That's what it looks like to me. Andy, I don't care. 2, 3, well, 3 is not available. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. Just get them. They have 2 guys for me. There's 2 dudes. Rosen, Mayfield. Go get one. You want to sit him for a month or 2? I don't give a shit. The fact I know they're on the sideline with a goddamn helmet waiting to roll, and I don't think McDermott would put them in mid-game, to be honest with you. If he was going to start the rookie, he would do what we saw with the Peterman situation. Like, I don't think he would start him on the road either. I think that's one thing he would redo. He would start him at home. He wouldn't put a rookie. He'd want to set him up for the best possible chance to succeed. He wouldn't put a guy. That was the one, to me, looking back, was the one mistake. It wasn't starting Peterman. It was starting him on the road. Because you remember, he went and started in a blizzard and played considerably okay till he got a concussion. You can't wait, dude. The term waiting gets you beat. You don't wait. You be proactive, not reactive. What do you mean make a guy play for us? That you build certain dude, you got to get that idea out of your head, man, that guys don't want to play for the Bills. Like where does that come from? That's like this what does that inferiority complex come from? Shouldn't we get a guy who doesn't mind playing for us? What do you mean mind playing? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. What is that? All these guys talk about the Bills Mafia, the great fans, all the stuff that goes on in the tailgate, that they're passionate and wild and crazy, and they back their guys, and there's tons of strong fan support. And I don't understand that sentiment. That's an old – I don't get it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hot shots want big cities, but LA, can I tell you something? LA is a big city, but they could care less about football there, dude. NFL football, they don't care about it. It's a Dodgers town. It's a Laker town. And when they're good, USC, UCLA. That's the pecking order. Dodgers, Lakers. When they're good, UCLA and USC. That's it. They care a lot. You know what? All those comp tickets you saw them giving out for the Rams games. Odell Beckham Jr., yeah, he's a hot shot in a big city. Look at him. Guy lives in Jersey. He lives 2 miles away from me in Cliffside Park. Okay? It's that's again, get that out of your head, bro. That's just not. It's just not. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a hot shot. He plays in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Okay, there's nothing in Green Bay except Lambeau Field. Now, I'm not trying to be an ass lurker. I'm just saying it's just that's not. I don't even know what to call that. Yeah, Jim Kelly said that, but that was 30 plus years ago. We said that, 30 plus years ago. That thing with the Bills to me is gone. If you want to play, like, if you want to proceed like that, like, oh, we don't want to take, like, then what are you doing? Why are you in the NFL? Why are the Bills like that? That makes zero sense. You got to sit there and ask, well, you want to come play for us, right? Because we're the Bills and we're in both. Come on. I just don't understand that. If the guy is good, dude, this is pathetic to say. This is the loser's mentality. This is a loser's mentality. When the Bills gave the key to the city to Terrell Owens, that was a loser's mentality. He's had a lot of connections with the Bills, man. A lot of connections. Dude, they draft this kid. They'll roll out the red carpet for him. They'll roll out the red carpet for him. Trust me. Rosen has been. He's had the private. I don't know if they're bringing him to Buffalo or they went to Westwood to work him out, but there's interest there, obviously. Now, the Jets, they like prototypical quarterbacks. Now, the allure of Baker in the big city, obviously, with the braggadocio stuff, would put asses in the seats for them, so I could see that there's a connection there. Oh, God, I would cry. I would fall over in this fucking chair here. That's what I would do. Eli didn't want to go to the Chargers, but they ended up getting Phillip Rivers. And the reason they didn't want to go to the Chargers, right, is because look at Spanos. Look how they dragged their feet with the stadium all these years. They were talking about a stadium back in 1994, dude. And then all the stuff with the way they handled Breeze. Look at the whole situation with Bosa, his holdout. They have a long-standing history with what's up, Pokemon? How you doing? They have a long-standing history with having not good relations. They've been frugal in that sense. They've always wanted to, but they hit on Tomlinson. They got Tomlinson. But he also knew that he'd be going there with Drew Brees. They didn't know his situation. They saw the way he was treated. They threw him under the bus. So he went out and played well. Look at the career he's had since he left there. Now look what Phillip Rivers has had to go through. He hasn't had good offensive lines. The guy's tough as nails. He gets his ass whipped, puts up good numbers. He makes shitty receivers look good, except Keenan Allen, who's a really, really good receiver, I won't lie. He's had Antonio Gates, but, I mean, Dontrell Inman and guys like that, he hasn't had, like, the greatest of the greatest. I know he had Vincent Jackson for a little while. I mean, Tomlinson left. He was on his last legs back in 2009. They never really replaced him. Gordon hasn't been much. Yeah, Bosa's amazing. He's amazing. I wish he was a Bill. Like, he's just nasty. But see where he was picked, dude? He was picked what? Was he second, third overall? He was up there, like fifth. He was up there. Rudolph. I want a guy who can sit in the pocket and pick apart a defense. I want a guy who's going to keep his eyes downfield and throw the football down the field and get the ball into the playmaker's hands in stride, quick, accurate, decisive. Oh, fourth? They're going to trade up to 4 if there's a guy they want. They're not going to just trade up to trade up. A pick or two will come off the board. They'll know if one of the 2 guys will be there or their guy specifically, and they'll go up. Let's just put it this way. You know how we get the feed? You know how we're watching? The team, as I understand it, gets informed of the pick ahead of them 10 minutes before we know. Because the team that's drafting has to notify the league within a certain period of time. The clock and shit is just for the cameras, okay? So that's all that is. All that shit, most of that shit we see for the cameras with the clock and stuff, that's all drama shit for the television, the networks. That's not the team knows, the league knows who's been drafted up to 10 minutes prior to it being announced live with Roger Goodell in the first round. So there's time. They're just not like, oh, we're on the clock, we have to make a trade. No, they have, because you have to file the paperwork to the league. You have to call the guy and all that, because all the stuff of them calling the guy, you see him on the phone, that's all just been taped and thrown on there. That's already been, they've already shown that. There's cameras everywhere. You got to remember, it's a made-for-TV event. So it's not something that just happens. Again, Jackson, to me, is a guy that needs to sit for a while. And I'm not interested in the guys. Again, I'm just not a fan. Sorry, I'm not a fan. He's a guy that needs to sit for a while. This team knows who they want. Now, they're going to start their meetings tomorrow. Their draft meetings, remember, start tomorrow. 2 weeks, they sit around the table and they finalize the board. That's what they do. 2 weeks, it's all going to be finalized, and they might tweak it here or there. But everything I understand, they're ready to roll. Hey, Chris, what's up? Yeah, pure passers. What did McDermott say? Guys who make plays from the pocket. Guys who make plays from the pocket. So what? They met Jackson first. That doesn't matter. Jackson wasn't at the Senior Bowl. They met Rudolph. They met Mayfield, and they met Allen at the Senior Bowl too. They met Mike White at the Senior Bowl. You mean during the Combine week, because that's the first time they could talk to the underclassmen. Well, that was all about the medicals and stuff. They had them all in the same place. That's the only thing that matters there. But the insanity of passing on, again, the original premise of this video was you cannot wait around till 22. So I don't want to hear no more of that, please. No more of that. No more second round. No more waiting till 22. I'll throw up in my mouth if I hear that, because you can't rationalize it to me. There is no rationale for it whatsoever. Not one bit. Inexcusable. This move has been a year in the making. A year in the making. They started this prior probably to the draft proceedings last year. If they got a chance to trade down, yeah, that's what I said. 22 my ass. You can't wait around the 22. Because you're going to be sitting on a big pile of shit with nothing to show for it at the end. Dude, you know what? When Chris Brown is on, I'll listen, because I like how, like, when he talks on the radio, I like him better than when he does the stuff for the Bills segments, because those are, again, scripted. But I'm not interested in any of that stuff whatsoever, like that they say. John Murphy at least is that talks about them needing a quarterback. I'll give him that. Like he goes out and says, well, they need a quarterback. That's the number one, because they look at the contract they have McCarron under. Look at the contract. What type of contract it is? It's not even a bridge contract. It's a standard backup quarterback contract. That's what it is. That's all it is. It doesn't smirk of anything else. The callers are old guys, dude. That's the thing, is the callers are old. Who's sworn to secrecy, bro? I don't get the sentiment there. It's like that's old school thinking. It's like, oh, get a linebacker, get an offensive lineman. They're still used to they're caught in the mindset of watching football from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. That's what they're caught in the mindset of doing. I understand it, but I don't know what they watch when they watch Sundays and the Bills are constantly caught with their pants down. I don't think they watch other games. I think they're caught in the Bills box. I think a lot of Bills fans strictly stay in the Bills box, and they don't venture outside of that box and see what goes on around the league. They don't think they're really done. I know a Viking fan like that. The kid is such a homer that he believes everything that organization does is the gospel. Nothing that they do will fail. That Captain Kirk, as he now calls him, is going to come in, a guy who's won 9 games at most in his whole career, never won a playoff game, is going to come in and be the guy that's going to be the savior of it all. And now that they have the defense and that they've had, he's out of his mind. Like, he was all humble and shit after they got their pants pulled down in Philly. Now he got his pride back and he's like talking all this crazy junk. And I'm like, yo, dude, like, he was trashing everybody the other day at the gym. It was crazy. Like, he really got his weight up. He was like, whoa, we got Captain Kirk and this and that. I'm like, bro, remember what happened in Philly? Chill the fuck out. Sorry I went off on a tangent there, but still, like, you got to respect the rest of the league is getting better too. You got to respect that other teams are trying to improve their team too, that they're trying to get to the same place that the Bills want to get to, and that the Bills can't sit around and wait no more. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, you guys are talking to GR guys. What's up, Zach? It's just it's just annoying when you get these fans that just live in this like mind, like that the rest of the league is staying still while their team is the only team that's adding players, changing coaches, and trying to get better. I'm like, no, there's 31 other teams trying to do that. All right, there's 31 other teams that don't have and shit. They got to go get a quarterback too. Patriots got to go get a hope that they draft another Jimmy Garoppolo type. They got to do that. The Steelers have already come out and said that they're thinking about a Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre type succession plan. That means what? Drafting a guy in the bottom half of the first and letting him sit for 2 to 3 years, right? Drew Brees, 39 years old. They're at that point in their careers or their time where, hey, we might take a flyer on a Jackson down here or somebody like that. So they've got to go. They can't wait. They cannot wait. There is no way in hell. Patriot, again, 22 to me for a quarterback's not an option. It's not even feasible to think about them using a quarterback, a pick, if they haven't traded up or used 12 on a quarterback, let's just say by some miracle, by some fucking act of God, Mayfield fell to 12 without them trading up. They must know some shit that we don't, because I think they'd fall over themselves running that card up to the podium. They might even break their own necks doing that, but you don't take that chance. You don't risk that. You don't sit on your hands for over almost 2 hours waiting for that to happen. You go make that happen. Do you guys want to sit there for 2 hours that night waiting for that to happen? Or do you want to see the Bills be aggressive like they were to go get a wide receiver in Sammy Watkins without even having a quarterback on their roster? Well, they apparently did. All in with EJ, only to bench him after 4 games. So I don't think Denver is taking a quarterback. I really don't. I don't think they're going to give John Elway another kick at the can at a quarterback, especially at 5. He just drafted Paxton Lynch not even 3 years removed. Okay. And now they have to go back to the well, and they're going to entrust him to pick the right guy up there. The organization's no longer in the Boland's hands, which are the owners that entrusted him and empowered him. That's not what I see them doing. I see them drafting the best player available. They can love quarterbacks all they want. The fact is that they're not in a position to just say, hey, we're going to take a 5th overall and let him not do anything on our team, because the way they paid Case Keenum, that guy's going to play. That guy's going to play for the next 2 years. And the guy who brought him into the league, Gary Kubiak, is in that organization and has a say in personnel now. And he's John Elway's right-hand man. So they're going to screw that guy, because that's the guy who said, that's the guy I want to go get. Once they were not in on Cousins, that's the guy they identified. I'm sure he had certain assurances. That's all I'm saying. He might be overrated, but you know what? Got to the NFC Championship game, and you know what? That's a damn sight farther than the Bills have been in a long-ass time, Lurker. So don't throw shade on the guy. Give him credit. Played his ass off last year. So who knows? There's overrated, underrated. Again, whole point, Bills can't wait. They got to go to 2. They got to go to 4. They got to go to 6. They got to see where the board, how it's falling. That's it. Darnold goes off 1 like we all think. Let's just say the Giants take any one of Nelson or Chubb. Right? Nice one, Thomas. That's funny. Yeah, he couldn't hit Diggs, but neither could Marcus Williams. That was the problem. That was the problem there. So Minnesota got a trip to Philly and New Orleans got a trip home. But be that as it may, say either one of Nelson or Chubb go off at 2. 3, I personally think they're going to take Allen. That's all the talk I hear here, right here in Jets land, is that the guy is going to be Allen. Any respectable media around here that's got a decent opinion, it's going to be Allen. So you got 4. Now 4, the Browns. It's all right, Christian. It's cool. I was just telling my whole thing of this was, again, can't wait till 22. Can't wait till 22. That's all. Can't wait till 22. But 5, let's just say the Browns keep their pick. keep their pick and take Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick, let's say that. And then they go to, you got 5. You got Denver. Again, Elway just drafted a quarterback in 16. He just drafted one. They're going to let him go back to the well again at 5th overall. I don't think they're going to let him do it. That's an ownership's decision. How did I become a Bills fan? Well, growing up in Jersey, I didn't watch football. I'll just make this a quick story. I didn't grow up a football fan at all. I didn't have any. I watched wrestling. So when I moved to Florida, all the kids down there, I was 9. All the kids down there, they liked football. That's all they talked about was sports. So I told my grandma, I was like, damn, I don't have no friends. I'm the new kid, whatever. She's like, well, you got to have things in common with these kids. And I was like, they like sports. She's like, well, try watching sports. And I was like, all right. And it was the start of school year down there. It was probably like around June or July. So football season or college football season rolled around. I watched a little bit of it. And then I saw on the TV guide that the NFL season was starting. And the first game I watched, being in Florida, was the Bills at Miami Dolphins opener in '89. And the game ending with Jim Kelly running in for the game-winning touchdown at the end. I saw the red, white, and blue uniforms. All the kids at school either like Dallas, the Dolphins, or the 49ers. So I said, I'm not going to like any of those teams those kids like. I'm going to like a completely different team. And the block I lived on, the block I grew up on in New Jersey, in Paterson, New Jersey, I can even tell you the address, was 21 Buffalo Ave in Paterson, between Maine and Hazel. And I saw that team, I saw those colors, and I just remember Buffalo Ave being home. I was like, that's the team. There's my team for the rest of my life. And I will never leave that team. That will be my team till they put me in a box or a grave, or they put me in they burn me, they fucking whatever, do whatever's left of me. So that's it. That's how I became a Bill fan. But draft, back to that. So there's going to be a lot of it. If they haven't traded up by 4, yeah, of course, there's going to be anxiety between 5 and 5, because you could think Arizona, you could think Miami might want to make a move. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah, throw me through a table, dude. I'll take it. You can duddily death drop my ass through the table. I could take a bump. Yeah, I can't imagine, being a Bills fan in Texas, because, it's like, oh, the Death Star, the Cowboys, oh my God. In high school football, Texas Longhorns is religion down there. It's scary. They're like fanatical. But I just can't watch this team not be able to put up points offensively anymore. I can't do it. I can't watch them just be a 29th in the league in passing and offense. Just, it's pathetic to watch sometimes. Like, I made a joke, like the Bills, during the offseason, they've been putting up things like, oh, missing football on Sundays and stuff. And one time they put this picture of this little kid sleeping in the stands, and he had Bills gear on. He was obviously at New Era, and he was like this. And I'm like, I wasn't even trying to be a dick about it. I was being serious. I wrote back and said, oh, yeah, that must have been when the Bills offense was on the field, because 9 times out of 10, it was just like they wanted to put you to sleep. 3 and out, run. Tyrod scrambles around and looks forever, doesn't throw to anybody, or he takes a sack. Yeah, Eric, this is the longest 3 weeks. This is going to be the longest 3 weeks of any Bills fan's life right now. And I've been a Bills fan for almost 30 years, man. And it's going to be long as hell. this shit is going to be. That's why I'm just trying to keep myself occupied. I'm trying not to. I don't really watch like the NFL stuff on ESPN or NFL Network. I just kind of talk to the guys that I respect on Twitter, or they talk to me, and I'll just listen to that. But I don't want to hear no junk about these guys' opinions, because their drafts change every week. They're scripted. They're told in their production meetings to disagree. They're told in their production meetings to like have different mock drafts, all that kind of crap. So I liked, dude, you know what I liked? I liked when the draft was 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, first and second round, starting at, what was it, noon Saturday, ending around, was it 4 or 5? You knew all the guys you were getting rounds 1 through 3. And then all of a sudden, do I remember Trent Edwards? Of course. Dude, I remember Rick Strom, Gail Gilbert. I remember those guys. I'm probably a little older than you, Lurker. So I remember those winners. But they were the third string quarterbacks when the Bills had Kelly and Reich. So that's why you probably never heard those names before. You know, believe it or not, Alex Van Pelt was one of those guys for a brief period of time. Actually, behind Todd Collins and me, he became the backup when Kelly retired. But yeah, I mean, I just look at the type of quarterback that they like, the type of quarterback that they brought in, and it seems to me the guys who fit the bill, the guy who fits the bill the most to me out of the 4 bigs is Rosen. That's the guy. So that's the one guy to me that I just see, boom. And at UCLA, he was a one-man band. He had nobody really to throw to. Well, he was a backup, Christopher. He was a backup. He had that one little run in the at the end of his Redskins tenure. Remember, he got them into the playoffs, even though they got their ass whooped in Tampa Bay. He did that. If they do, Thomas, if they need to do it, do it. I think they go up. Either way, I think the Bills are trading next year's first-round pick. I mean, that's what I think. And Bean said as much. Bean said he would be okay with it if it was to get a player that was another big thing I didn't even talk about yet. That was a big thing. He said that if they did that, yeah, Matthew. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. It's not the drafts. I know mock drafts are for entertainment. It's the Bills fans all of a sudden, and certain people as draft time draws near, that are all like, oh, wait till 22 or wait till the second round. No, can't do it. I know I've repeated this multiple times. You can't do that. But yeah, that exactly, Thomas. That's he said it. Bean said this himself, and I totally forgot to mention this because I was caught up in some of my tangents. You guys stop me when I do that, please. In the chat, you have full autonomy to do so. They'd be willing to part with the first round. He said if it's for a player that would make our team better, absolutely. He said that. So dude, Sean, I remember that was the last time I cried during a football game, was at the mid-4th quarter, Dallas and Bills, the last time, the Super Bowl. That was the last time I cried. I was 13 years old, and I remember just the realization that they were going to lose the game. Emmitt Smith was on the sideline. with his fucking helmet off, and they had put Derek Lassick into the game, and he was running out the ball, and the Bills were just kind of like beaten down, and it was just painful to watch, man. It was just painful, to the realization. And after that, I became numb. I really did. Music City Miracle happened. I was sitting here and just like, seeing them lose 4 straight Super Bowls, nothing phases me. So I've seen so much crap. It just, it hurt. Thank God you don't remember. Yeah, Thomas, me too. Like, I know some assholes. That fucking, like, fake Patriot fans, Johnny-come-latelys. Like, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. This is something that you guys are going to hate this. But it's a good thing, but it's going to annoy the fuck out of you. Okay? If and when the Bills get good, and I mean good, like perennially going to the playoffs, maybe contending for Super Bowls, they're going to get fake fans. And only then will you know the Bills have arrived as a team, when they get fake fans. Like when you get kids like you'll see more Bills gear. Like I'll go into NYC and I'll see like more Bills gear. It's crazy. Like it was like a sign. Like I started seeing Bills gear this year more so than ever. I saw this 80-year-old man at the ShopRite. I saw this Puerto Rican kid this was before they made the playoffs too, by the way. And I was just like, this is weird. Why am I seeing Bills gear? But it was I mean, they've talked about him a little bit, but it's just, you guys will see when they start getting fake fans. You'll see more people on social media claiming to be Bills fans. You'll see it on Twitter. You'll see it on Instagram and Snap. You'll see it all in those places, and it's going to piss you off. It really is. It's going to irritate me because they didn't sit here and go through all the pain and all the fucking abuse that we did. All the losing and the humiliation and just the constant embarrassment. Like they wouldn't know nothing if you mentioned the Whaley press conference. They'll know nothing about that. That's how you know they can't even remember something from a year and a half ago. You know they're full of shit and fake. That was so embarrassing and humiliating. I was at another low point there. That was another low point for me. I was getting into that dark place. Like I didn't want to talk about the Bills no more. I didn't want to come make these videos or anything anymore because I was just like, what am I going to talk about? Like Rex Ryan. I want to talk about like embarrassing Rex Ryan. I want to talk about Whaley's idiocy. Can't even speak in public, doddering all over himself. It was embarrassing. Like, why am I going to even talk about this team no more? It's a joke. McDermott didn't excite me that much. He seemed like a professional guy that had his head on straight at least. The bar was so low. And then, came in, talked about organized and everything. And then once Whaley got fired and he seemed like he had his pulse on things and started changing things, that got me excited again. That lit a fire under me again. And when I saw they traded back in the first round, like that was sad, man. That was sad. Privy. You know what? Christopher, about Rex? I'll never forgive myself because you guys seen him with the Jets. I seen him here, like right here with the Jets as a Bills fan in Jersey, and how the media talked about him at the end here, or even during his time, like what a joke he was. And I'll never forgive myself for trying to think that it would work. I'll never forgive myself like for just allowing myself to think that. It was embarrassing, but that shit was just painful for me. And it was just almost as bad as the end of the Duran times. It was just like there was that, just you were in nowhere land. But McDermott trading that first rounder and all the strong talk about them finally trying to go get a quarterback. This fucking draft, that was it. This is it. This is it. This is what it was supposed to be. I don't care if they expected, like, there's certain media, like, there's some guys on GR, there's these certain guys, like, oh, I don't think they expected to be this good. Oh, I don't think they expected the break. Who cares? You don't get to pick and choose when you do anything in football. You play the game to the best of your ability, and you win it or you lose it. That's it. You don't get to pick and choose when you win. That's why you hear Bills fans talk about, oh, well, there's no sure thing in the draft. Well, guess what? Is that the time you're going to set the level to, oh, we want to suck this year and not win any games? We want to tank because we were supposed to be tanking this year, right? Damn team was 9-7. And granted, they had to get help to get in the playoffs, but they got in. He's got to be good, man. That's the point. He's got to be good. The Bills have never been frugal with players. That's another misnomer. That's another fallacy. I don't know where that's ever been. Bills have never been cheap with players. Where they were cheap was with facilities and coaches. The Ralph Rich Stadium, whatever you want to call it, was a shithole, and they never wanted to pay coaches. That's why you saw the lower end coaches. That's why you saw the coordinator. You never saw the hot ticket item. You never saw that. That's what it is. The guy is, trust me, we'll know the guy is good the day that they hand him a $30 million contract. That's a year. Well, they had the money to. That was the first time they paid a coach. Seriously, that was the first time in the organization's history they ever paid a coach. I think that was more, Chris. That was more a publicity thing from Brandon. Ralph was in the room in Detroit sick, like he wasn't in those states to Well, they made that rule, Thomas, that they can actually hire guys while they can still work for their team and officially hire a guy. Yeah, it was just for PR. There was Gruden. Now, honestly, I always thought Gruden was overrated. I always thought he was an egomaniac. He never developed a young quarterback. There's another guy. There's another guy that, like, he's been tagged as this offensive genius, guru, quarterback whisperer. That scares me. When you hear a quarterback whisperer, that scares me. Because name one young quarterback John Gruden ever developed. Name one. No, he always attached himself to, like, veterans. Like Rich Gannon, Brad Johnson, Jeff Garcia. Those are the most successful quarterbacks he ever had underneath him. He's overrated. And I think what you're going to see with him in Oakland, it's just another money grab to keep sentiment amongst fans happy, get them living some nostalgia before they go running off to that palace in the desert in Vegas. And he probably won't even be the coach. He'll be Mike Ditka. He's going to be like Mike Ditka. You know, the nicest guy who ever came back to the NFL after almost 20 years of being away? Dick Vermeil. Dick Vermeil is probably the nicest man in the history of the NFL, and the guy came and he was successful with the Rams and with KC. I think Ditka, he loves free agents. The team got older and slower, so this isn't about the Raiders. Though. This is about the Bills. They need to take a quarterback. They need to stop with the BS about waiting around till 22 or second round because it's a joke. And the only thing the Bills will get is, I think they'll get a handful of nothing. Because you can't forget, there's Miami at 11, and then there's Arizona at 15. And teams can trade over you too. They can jump the Bills at 22. So Dude, I don't see batted. I've seen I saw batted passes with 6'4" EJ Manuel. Okay, I saw batted passes with him. A quarterback is going to get a batted pass every now and again, but I don't think it's not an epidemic with that guy. Yeah, the guy couldn't hit the ass end of a barn. Remember, big hands, big hands. Eli has relatively small hands for a quarterback. Guy's got a good arm, throw the football well. Tom Brady doesn't have overly large hands. He's got like 9.25 inch hands. Looks like he throws the football very well to me. They can be monsters, but guess what? They're all monsters, bro. Quarterbacks throwing through windows, throwing through the lanes. Drew Brees does it. Russell Wilson does it. Short quarterbacks have done it. Aaron Rodgers is really 6'1", dude. Okay? So it happens. Stop being scared. Stop being afraid. Stop finding little minutia things to explain away why this guy, or rationalize why this prospective guy is going to be good or bad. Because I think the way I feel about this Bills regime is they have a plan. They're sticking to it. Unlike in prior regimes, it was, what is the plan? And the truth was, the plan was whatever they were doing that moment. There was no clear, concise, consistent plan. It was, let's trade a bunch of picks and get Sammy Watkins. That's going to be really exciting and fun for the fans. And, we get a nice flashy new toy, and we trade away Stevie and get rid of his big contract. Or, what are we going to do this time to get the fans excited? We'll trade for Shady McCoy, and we'll hire Rex Ryan and get the fans excited. Ooh. Like, there was never a plan. There was never a clear, consistent, concise plan that, irregardless of what we do this year, last year has nothing to do with this year. This has been the plan. Yeah, let's get a new toy like CJ Spiller. Hey, let's sign Mario Williams for a $100 million contract. Let's do this. Let's do that. It was a joke. There was never a clear, and the most important plan, you notice I haven't mentioned, was quarterback, and they never bothered with it. They were just like, let's just lay and pray that we can just sneak into the playoffs and they'll build us a shrine and we'll be employed for another decade. That was it. That was the goal. Yeah, he was fast, but he was scared of getting hit, and he didn't know how to run between the tackles. He had the worst fucking vision you'd ever want to see. He was so scared of getting hit. Everything, remember, run wide, run around, tackle for a loss. It was pathetic to watch the way that guy fell to nothing. It was bad. But again, never a plan at quarterback. Yeah, it was like, yeah, he got signed by the Jets, Kansas City. I think it was another team was Seattle. It was ridiculous. Yeah, Fred is another promotional mantelpiece. He's a knickknack for the organization. The feel good for the fans. Again, feel good for me is now. Would you want to see Baker Mayfield wear 6, take Colton Schmitz, or would you want to see Josh Rosen with number 3? Which would you rather see? Are you comfortable with those numbers, or are you guys like superstitious and like wondering like, 3 EJ Manuel 6, like not a good quarterback number? Like, for me, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I mean, but still, they pass on quarterbacks. There was not. It was weird because between 2006, shit, they could have drafted Jay Cutler. Instead, they drafted Dante Whitner. They could have drafted. They could have even in 08? Trent was coming off the shit season. They were in position. They could have drafted Flacco. In 09, they could have drafted I know he busted out of the league, but he had a good couple of years. Josh Freeman, they didn't bother with him, and Trent was well on his way downhill. 10 was a horrible draft for quarterbacks, in my opinion. 11 was the year they were supposed to get Newton, but they miscalibrated it, thought Luck was coming out, and they decided to go catch fire with Fitz, win 4 games at the end of the year, and it took them out of range to draft Cam Newton. So that's what happens. You can't do that. All right, guys, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to jump over here. It's 11:06. I don't know about you guys. This is going to be, I know it's going to be long 3 weeks. I've already told all my perspective. I told my current employers and my prospective employers, because I'm a chef and I do some other things on the side occasionally, that I am not working April 26th. How pathetic is that? I told them all already like 2 weeks ago that I am not working, that I'm going to be home all day. And, well, Carolina wasn't trading Lloyd. They were not trading. They were staying there picking Cam Newton. So, all right, guys, I'm going to turn in. Thanks for having me again. Thanks for sticking with me, all you guys. Sean, Christian, Lurker, Eric, Christopher, Thomas, Happenings, all you guys. I'm going to try to scroll through and make sure. Matthew, ODC, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'll be back probably in a couple of weeks. I could have talked about Keelan Clay signing and Phillip Games, but that's boring. Who wants to talk about that just yet? Let's go Bills. Hope we get a quarterback ASAP so we can really talk about some exciting shit. Go Bills. Love all you guys. Thank you.